Hey there, I wanted to do a quick review on Heavyocity's MS Ensemble Drums, a library I picked up a little while ago. I really like the way that it's starting to sound with a lot of what I'm doing on some of these more epic pieces and kind of some of those sci-fi type of scores that they want to have the big drums, that type of thing. I often find myself combining this with Cinesample's Drums of War. That just is a really nice companion, but by itself, as just a standalone, I'm really happy with it. What I've done on this video, just for the sake of kind of getting to the point while showing you the different patches that it comes included with it, you'll see here listed on the left, we have the low drums all, the tight snares off and on, toms low, rotos and bass, toms high, trap, case, and door. And I really like the way the trap, case, and door sounds. But I really like the way that Heavyocity has kind of put a good variety in here for you to just jump into. Take a listen and just check this out. There's a certain quality to that trap, case, and door that I really like. It's just kind of this like kind of scrapey type of sound going on there. I'm sure somebody would have a better description than that. But what I like a lot about these is that they're very clean recording. It's only $149 for the library if you go to Heavyocity. Sometimes they have a few sales going on. I believe, if I remember right, I picked this up for about half as much because it was some kind of 2-day flash sale going on. But I've found that it's a very useful library to have in my selection for these big epic drums. And let's jump into a little bit on the interface that I'm happy with. That I really like what they've packed in here between this punish effect, which sounds to me like some kind of saturator compressor type of deal, and then they also have these different deals on the T effects. I'm not exactly sure what T stands for, but when you hit some of these filters, it gives you some really cool options about kind of like lo-fi, ducking out, that type of thing to create kind of swelling effects. So let me hit on this one, pull this up since I'm just a big fan of trap, case, and door. And let me just tweak these a little bit so you can kind of check out what I'm talking about while I mess with that, and then you can kind of hear the whole difference on what these little bells and whistles will do. A lot of creative potential here, I think. Some kind of cool flange type of stuff happening there. Now, of course, in the mix, you can assign this so you can, set everything for panning and for how you want to tune each one. I haven't really, for the sake of this demo, haven't gone through and tuned any of these drums, but I would imagine that when you have the big orchestral piece together and you're trying to mix it all, it's going to allow a lot of cool little flexibility there, having the tuning and panning. But one thing that's also really cool is the punish feature, which, once again, kind of gets you a little grittier sound than you would have had before. So I'll do a little on-off for you on that. If you go into the T effects, we'll check out some of these filters that I had a lot of fun messing with. I bet if you had the need to, you could automate some of these and have them do some really cool swelling effects. Little bit of bit crushing action. If you click onto the advanced sections, it also shows you this kind of sequencer where it will take what you've created and time it with the sequence. I've got it set at a 7/8 signature at 140 beats PM. But as you can kind of customize and go through, if I did this correctly on this one, it's a little bit different. But this one must be just a preset one. But on a few of these, I found that you can kind of go up and go down and set them to however you want them and kind of tweak them. And that's just another little bit of creative freedom you have on there that I think is a pretty cool little addition. I mean, I think that sounds cool by itself, like on its own without these extra little features. But I think that what's cool about it, especially when I'm doing some sci-fi work, that if I want to get a little bit more abstract and I want to change things up and get a little more creative, I still have kind of that bass sound of BASE sound of the original organic drum, but they have some immediately accessible tools within the interface for you to kind of mess with. And of course, you know, if you have your own set of plugins, then that may not be as big of a thing for you. But if you happen to either be addicted to just getting different plugins to mess with, or you just happen to not have a whole other collection of stuff to mess with, I think they give you a lot for your money to kind of include this on the back end. So I think that's pretty cool. And of course, there's all the equalization you can do between each individual instrument there too. So as you can see, they've really kind of fleshed out the interface and gone pretty in depth for what you can actually do with it. Once again, I'm a big fan of what Heavyocity does. Check out some of the sales they have. I mean, this is for $149 USD. I picked this one up for $75, and I'm really happy with the way it sounds. There's a little bit of the in the snares you may have to go through and maybe turn them down just a little bit. I found that they kind of, when they were the way that they just kind of come out of the box, they're a little bit loud compared to the other instruments. So I ended up, I'll pull up the mixer window for you, showing that what I find myself doing on some of these snares is pulling them down a little bit lower than you say I do with some of these other ones. But of course, that can all be depending on what kind of compression you're using, what kind of gain you're sending out, and you know, any number of things. But just out of the box with not much else added to it, I found the snares were a little bit louder than some of the other instruments. But oh yes, let's look at one more thing here too that's I find pretty important. And I haven't really delved into it too much yet, but I've seen it in other demos. If I can just find it, it's got the stage function where, and normally my habit is to load percussion pieces in mono, so that I can go through and from the just above the fader here, using the panning, I can kind of put it where I want. What I like is that, okay, so let's suppose that I happen to accidentally upload that as a stereo, and I've been working for a while, and I just happen to notice, oh crap, that track is stereo, and I want it mono. Well, I can still go through here and reposition the drums anywhere on this virtual stage. That basically acts as a panner and fader. It'll put it to the back to give it some distance. You can put it right at the front. And unfortunately, I don't have these set in stereo to properly demonstrate that, but you can find that on some of the Heavyocity demos. But just another cool little addition that I've found that some of the drum libraries don't necessarily include. Like I said, Drums of War is one that I really like. It's not a terribly expensive percussion library, but it doesn't include something like this. So I find that was a cool little tool to use if you want to kind of envision what it would look like and sound on stage. So yeah, once again, I thumbs up for this cool little library from Heavyocity, and I'll throw the link on here. Once again, I'm Nick Borrego. Check out convergeaudio.com and let me know what you think about this. Feel free to subscribe, hit a like, whatever, hit a comment. Hope you guys have a good one, and good luck with all your composing. See ya.